Remember when Marco Rubio called Donald Trump a con man and said, we're not going to allow a con man to take over the Republican Party? And then Rubio went after Donald Trump for the way he drinks water and his tiny hands and all of that. The tiny hands thing, that originated with Marco Rubio. You guys remember all of that from 2016, right? He sold out hard.
Marco Rubio said something I don't know, which is that what they're doing with the UFC is akin to putting a man on the moon.
When President Kennedy announced that we were going to put a man on the moon and return him safely to the earth, no one thought that was possible, and we did it. We are a nation founded on doing what no one else dared to do and no one else aspired to do. And at some level, that's what this whole company, what UFC has been.
Yeah. I wasn't aware of that. I was, yeah. That was an interesting...
We're all learning new things together, Erin Burnett.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't lose the power to be stunned.
No.
Okay?
No.
All right. So Trump and his allies are saying how great it is to have the UFC at the White House, right? That's what they say. How do Americans see it?
Yeah, they don't see it any such way. They, you talk about putting a man on the moon. Putting a man on the moon, quite popular. The appropriateness for this fight, UFC fight at the White House. I mean, what are we talking about in terms of the American public? We are talking less than 20% of Americans say that, in fact, this event, look at this, 16% say these U.S. White House fights are appropriate. And just 31% of Republicans say they're appropriate. Donald Trump's approval rating with Republicans is north of 80% in the average of polls. So we're talking about 50 points lower among Republicans. Even Republicans
So
are
this is
quite...
basically as bad as it gets.
This is about as bad as it gets. It's the exact opposite of putting a man on the moon.
This one will have people watching, probably over, 1 billion people all over the world. 1 billion people all over the world will be watching America celebrate its 250th birthday with the White House in the background and some of the best athletes in the world in that octagon.
What an absolute embarrassment. Are 1 billion people going to watch this UFC event? I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. Who the fuck knows? But this is Marco Rubio, who once accurately pointed out that Donald Trump was a con man and cannot be allowed to take over the Republican Party. A man who at one point in time, even though you disagreed with him from a policy standpoint, you could at least sit down and have a respectful conversation with him because he wasn't an absolute loon on the right. Standing up there and shilling for Donald Trump's UFC birthday event. Comparing it with putting a man on the moon, the UFC company. What the fuck happened to you, Rubio? At one point in time, you were one of the Republicans that we could look to and say, can we get normal Republicans like this? And here you are selling out everything you hold dear so that you could stamp Secretary of State on your resume. Shame on you, Marco Rubio.